I press the brake pedal, and a faint, dry scraping sound echoes from beneath the car. A quick, almost imperceptible drag against asphalt. My hand instinctively goes to my pocket, the cool brass of my key jingling softly as I slow for the intersection. A vibration travels up the pedal, a low thrum against the sole of my boot. I hesitate a moment, my foot hovering before pressing the accelerator. As I drive away, I glance in the rearview mirror. A fresh, thin line is etched into the road where I stopped, a faint, pale scar on the dark pavement. My fingers brush the raised line on my left wrist, a familiar, faint ridge. The line on the road seems to shimmer, a brief, almost invisible ripple, like water disturbed. I adjust my grip on the steering wheel, the leather cool beneath my palms, a small bead of sweat forming. Ahead, another light turns red, its glow reflecting off the wet asphalt. I press the brake again. A little slower this time, trying to anticipate the sound. The scraping is louder, a deeper, more insistent grind that seems to pull at the car's underside. The vehicle shudders, a low tremor running through the frame, vibrating up through my seat. In the mirror, the pale line on the asphalt has widened, a fresh, raw gouge now, darker at its edges. It stretches further back than before, a growing track of disturbance that wasn't there moments ago. I feel a strange resistance, as if the road itself is holding onto the tires, a subtle, unseen drag. My key feels heavier in my pocket, a cold weight against my thigh. I need to keep moving. The task demands it. I press the brake pedal, and the scraping sound returns, louder this time. It's a distinct metallic grind, vibrating up through the floorboards of the old sedan. My grip tightens on the steering wheel, knuckles white. I feel the cold brass key in my pocket, pressing against my thigh. It feels heavier than usual. A small, unsettling weight. Then, the car shudders slightly, a new tremor I don't recognize. I hesitate, my foot hovering over the pedal, wondering if I should pull over. The road is empty, and the destination is close, a familiar pull. I decide to continue, a small lapse in judgment. The grind lessens as I ease off the brake, but it doesn't vanish completely. Something is definitely wrong beneath the car. Later, parked in the driveway, I step out, the evening air cool on my face. I kneel beside the front wheel, my fingers tracing the dusty tire. The dim light struggles to reach the underside, but I spot it, a fresh scratch on the chassis, just behind the front wheel. It wasn't there this morning. The metal glints dully, a thin, unnatural line. I touch it, feeling a sharp, almost surgical edge. It's too clean, too precise for a random stone. My hand brushes against the cold metal, and I feel a faint vibration, like a distant hum, coming from deep within the car's frame. The brass key in my pocket feels even colder now, a small, insistent pressure against my skin. I stand slowly, the silence of the driveway suddenly heavy. The scratch seems to pulse faintly, almost imperceptibly, as I watch it. I am navigating the evening traffic, the familiar hum of the engine a constant. Then, the scraping sound evolves. It deepens, now accompanied by a faint, heavy thud, as if something is being dragged, catching and releasing beneath the vehicle. A subtle vibration presses against my leg. The brass key in my pocket hums faintly, a low, steady rhythm matching each thud. I grip the steering wheel, my knuckles tightening. This isn't right. The thud grows louder, a wet, tearing sound, now joining the scrape. I hesitate, my foot hovering over the brake. Should I stop here? The traffic flows around me. I decide to pull over, guiding the car to the curb. The thudding stops the moment my tires touch the shoulder. I lean forward, peering out the window. Directly beneath where my car had been, a fresh, raw gouge mars the asphalt. It's deeper, more pronounced than any mark I've seen before. I reach into my pocket, my fingers finding the cool, smooth brass of the key. It still vibrates, a quiet pulse against my palm, even though the thudding has ceased. The air carries a faint, metallic scent, like old iron and damp earth. I push the key deeper into my pocket, a small, involuntary shiver running down my arm. I check the rearview mirror, but the street behind me is empty. Nothing. The silence feels heavy, expectant. I should not linger. I shift the car into drive, the engine a low growl. The gouge remains, a dark, fresh scar on the road. The dragging sensation intensifies with each brake, a palpable resistance pulling against the car's momentum. I grip the steering wheel tighter, my knuckles white. This isn't normal road friction. I check my mirrors, a quick glance, catching a fleeting, misaligned shadow in my periphery. It's a shape that doesn't quite match my car's profile. Too low, too wide. I hesitate, then tap the brakes again, feeling the pull grow stronger, almost a tug. The car veers slightly to the left. A subtle drift I correct quickly. My brass key scrapes against the fabric of my pocket as I shift uncomfortably, the sound sharp in the quiet cabin. I try to dismiss the shadow, telling myself it's just a trick of the light. But the resistance persists, a constant, low hum now. I slow down, pulling into the designated spot, misjudging the distance by a foot. The car shudders slightly as I park, a final, deep groan from beneath. Stepping out, I walk around to the rear passenger side, my boots crunching on loose gravel. There, smeared across the sidewall of the tire, is a strange, viscous residue. It's dark, slightly oily, and seems to pulse faintly, almost imperceptibly. I reach out, my fingers hovering, then touch it. It feels cold, slick, and surprisingly firm, like congealed tar. A faint, metallic smell rises from it, sharp and acrid. I pull my hand back quickly, a shiver running down my arm. The residue seems to spread a fraction, just as I watch it, a slow, deliberate creep. I glance back at the driver's side, wondering if I missed something there. The air feels heavier now. The sounds from beneath the car are no longer just scraping and thudding. A low, muffled groan seems to accompany the drag, a sound of strained effort. I shift my weight, trying to adjust my grip on the steering wheel, but the vehicle pulls slightly to the left. My arms ache from the constant correction. I glance at the side mirror. My reflection lags, a split second behind my actual movement, its eyes wide with an unreadable expression. I blink slowly, and the reflection's eyelids close a beat too late, a small, unsettling delay. The brass key in my pocket feels strangely warm. I reach in, my fingers brushing the worn fabric. Then the cold metal of the car door. The key turns suddenly cold, a sharp chill against my palm, as if reacting to an unseen shift in temperature. I almost drop it, my grip tightening instead. A small hesitation. A fresh, deep scratch now mars the paintwork of the side panel. Right above the rear wheel well, it's a stark white line against the dark finish. I lean closer, tracing the new mark with a fingertip, feeling the rough edge. The groan from beneath the car deepens, a low rumble that vibrates through the floorboards. I pull my hand back quickly, a small jolt running up my arm. The car shudders, then settles into its uneven rhythm once more, the dragging sound growing louder. I try to ignore the lingering chill from the key, focusing on the road ahead, which seems to waver slightly. Braking now produces a sickening, wet, dragging sound. It feels heavy, resistant, making the entire car sluggish, as if an immense weight has been added. The groan from the suspension is deeper than usual, a low, protesting rumble that vibrates through the floorboards. I clench my hand around the brass key in my pocket, pressing it so hard it leaves a temporary red impression on my palm. My foot hesitates on the pedal, holding the brake longer than necessary, feeling the car fight against an unseen force. The steering wheel feels stiff, almost sticky, resisting my slight adjustments. When I finally park, the engine sighs, a long, tired sound. A dark, viscous stain, roughly the size of a dinner plate, bleeds into the concrete of my driveway. It appears directly beneath the car's rear axle, slowly expanding. I watch the edges creep outward, a slow, deliberate spread, like spilled oil, but thicker, darker. The air around it feels colder, a subtle shift I notice on my exposed skin, raising goosebumps. I reach for the door handle, but my hand pauses, hovering just inches away. The brass key in my pocket feels suddenly warmer, almost hot against my skin, a sharp contrast to the chill in the air. I pull my hand away from the door, a small, involuntary twitch, and glance at the rear-view mirror. The stain continues to grow, its surface catching the dim light, reflecting nothing but a deeper void. I adjust my grip on the steering wheel, my fingers tracing the worn leather. The car shifts slightly, a settling groan, and the stain expands another inch. A wet, dragging sound morphs into something guttural, a ragged, shallow breathing or shifting coming directly from under the car, audible even over the engine. I ease off the accelerator, the engine whine dropping, but the sound persists. The car's handling feels off, pulling subtly to the left as I brake, as if resisting my input. My grip tightens on the steering wheel, knuckles white. I glance at the rearview mirror, seeing only the empty road behind. I pull the brass key from my pocket, its sharp edge inadvertently cutting a small, stinging line across my thumb as I hold it tightly. The fresh cut stings, a familiar reminder of other tasks. I press the brake pedal again, firmer this time. The car shudders, then settles, but the pulling sensation remains. I lean forward, trying to peer under the dashboard, but the angle is wrong. A faint vibration runs up through the floorboards, a low hum. I shift my weight, trying to find a better view, and something shifts, a low thud against the undercarriage. Whoa. The breathing sound deepens, a wet rasp. I slow the car further, pulling towards the shoulder. The brass key feels warm now, a dull heat against my cut thumb, almost a warning. On the rear bumper, a faint, distorted handprint like smudge, almost translucent, has appeared, barely visible against the chrome. I reach back, my fingers brushing the cold metal of the bumper. The smudge feels slick, not quite wet under my touch. It seems to pulse faintly, a dark shadow within the chrome, growing slightly. I pull my hand back quickly, a chill running up my arm. I approach the stop sign, pressing the brake. The car resists, pulling hard to the right, a cold, heavy presence emanating from the floorboards. My foot pushes harder, but the wheel fights back, vibrating under my grip. I grip the steering wheel tighter, my knuckles white. The brass key, warm from my palm, slips from my trembling fingers. It clatters loudly against the console, a sharp sound in the sudden, heavy silence. I manage to stop, the tires squealing faintly on the dry pavement. My hand reaches for the key, finding its smooth, cold surface where it landed. I hesitate, glancing at the empty intersection, a shiver tracing my spine. Something feels wrong beneath us. a low hum I can almost hear. I open the door, stepping out onto the cracked asphalt. The air is still, too still, and the distant hum seems to follow me. Bending down, I check beneath the car. The exhaust pipe is noticeably dented and bent, twisted inward as if crushed. It looks as if something immense had squeezed past it, leaving behind a fresh, metallic sheen. I touch the cold metal, feeling the sharp edge of the new damage. A faint, oily smell, like old machinery, hangs in the air. I stand up slowly, my gaze sweeping the quiet street. The stop sign itself seems to lean slightly, its red paint duller than before, almost faded. I pick up the brass key again, turning it over in my palm. The weight of it feels different now, heavier. The silence presses in, heavy and watchful, and I realize the hum has stopped. I slam the brakes hard. The car lurches violently, throwing me forward against the seatbelt. A guttural shriek erupts from directly beneath the chassis, a sound of pure agony, then pure rage. My hands clench on the steering wheel, a small mistake in my grip as the car shudders to a halt. In the side mirror, a dark, indistinct mass recoils from under the car, a ripple of movement vanishing into the roadside brush. I try to steady my breathing, but a tremor runs through my arm, a cold jolt. The brass key, still clutched in my right hand, suddenly becomes searing hot. I yelp, the unexpected pain forcing me to drop it onto the floor mat with a clatter. My fingers sting, a sharp, lingering burn. I hesitate, glancing at the key, then shift my attention back to the empty road ahead. Nothing moves. The silence feels heavier now, pressing in. Later, I kneel beside the car, my uniform pants brushing the damp asphalt. The undercarriage is a wreck. Twisted metal shielding hangs torn, exposing frayed wires. Deep, unnatural gouges score the frame, clearly not from any road debris I've ever seen. I run a gloved finger along a jagged edge, feeling the cold, sharp metal. It feels too precise, too deliberate. The damage is significant, a clear consequence of whatever was beneath us. I glance back at the empty spot on the road, then at the key still resting on the floor mat. It's brass, now cool to the touch. The task continues. I brake one final time, a desperate, shuddering stop that throws me forward. My shoulder hits the seatbelt, a dull ache spreading across my chest. A deafening, metallic shriek echoes from beneath, a sound like grinding teeth on steel, followed by a sickening thud. Then, absolute, unnerving silence settles in. The scraping stops. It just ends. My hands grip the steering wheel, knuckles white, a slight tremor running through my forearms. The anomaly is gone, vanished as abruptly as it began, leaving only the quiet hum of the engine. I push against the door, a slight hesitation, then step out onto the cold asphalt. The air feels heavy, different now, carrying a faint, metallic scent. I scan the road, left, then right, but nothing moves, nothing stirs in the dim light. My gaze drops to the floor of the car. There, near the pedals, lies my brass key. It's strangely bent and warped, its once smooth surface now scarred with deep gouges. Like something tried to chew it. I pick it up, the cold metal pressing into my palm. It feels wrong, heavier than before, almost vibrating faintly. I almost drop it, my fingers fumbling for a moment. Beneath the car, a permanent, jagged tear in the asphalt stretches for several feet, a raw, dark wound in the road. It ends precisely where my car rests, a perfect, unnatural stop. The edges of the tear shimmer faintly, like oil on water, reflecting the streetlights in a distorted way. I trace the line with my boot, a small shiver running up my leg, despite the calm. The task is done, for now. But the road remembers. The silence presses in, waiting for the next sound, the next instruction.